The Arizona Cardinals attempt to stop the bleeding. Can they afford a 5-game losing streak ahead of the bye week? It's Cards, Packers in Glendale. PHNX Cardinals starts now. Welcome in live from Chicken and Pickle in downtown Glendale, across the street from State Farm Stadium, the site of Packers at Cardinals. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier #1 Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. I'm Johnny Venerable, joined on game day by former Arizona Cardinal wide receiver, the playmaker, Brittan Golden. Brack from State Farm Stadium is going to join us in just a couple minutes. We got Noah, we got Leah behind the scenes today. We are crushing it from a robust crowd here at Chicken and Pickle as the Arizona Cardinals, Brittan, attempt to save their season behind Jacoby Brissett against the visiting Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, I mean, you want to see a little bit of what you saw last week offensively, right? You moved the ball. We had 300 yards on offense, a whole bunch of stuff. You need to see that continue this week. Hopefully the defense can get some stops, but if that offense doesn't show up, it's going to be real bad.
We're on the balcony here at Chicken and Pickle. Right below us, it's a robust crowd of Cardinal and Packer fans alike going at it today, as they will in just a couple minutes. Kickoff coming live from Glendale. I want to remind everybody, the presenting sponsor today, our friends, our home away from home. It's Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com. So fired up to be back at Gila. We're going to be back there 2 weeks from Monday for Monday Night Football, as Kyler Murray is poised to return to this team. But will it matter? Why isn't he playing today? We're going to break it all down as we dive into the pre-flight inactives here on a pregame PHNX Cardinals live stream here. And there they are, Week 7 inactives. No Kyler Murray for the second straight week as he rebounds from that little bit of a Liz Frank foot injury. Gets the extra week during the bye. I would presume he'll be fully healthy by the time the Cowboys game rolls around, but will it matter at that point? 2-5 if they lose today, very much in it at 3-4. DeMercado out, Keaton Crawford out, low-key significant injury to the secondary, and then a couple of healthy scratches. Josh Fryer, DeMontre Jacobs, and Elijah Jones all out today. So, Brittan, you and I haven't had a chance to connect really, and certainly in front of our audience here. Kyler Murray out last week. Jacoby Brissett largely played the best game from a Cardinal quarterback this year in terms of passing yards. And, we've kind of have it sourced here in the tea leaves that they feel like with Jacoby, more of a traditional pocket passer, they're able to do more in the passing game. Does that lend itself for success today against the Green Bay Packers, in your opinion?
Well, I think it does. I think you have to continue trying to push the ball downfield. You had success last week doing it. You ended with a close game that you really had an opportunity to win last week, too, against the Colts, right? You just got to keep pushing with that offense, and if Jacoby Brissett is the answer right now, that's what you got to go. I mean, he threw for 300-plus yards last week. It's the most yards we've seen from a Cardinal quarterback in a very, very long time. So
right.
It's, I wonder if they feel more comfortable opening up the deep game. I don't know. It's just one of those things where he's got to succeed today. That offensive line has to hold up and allow him time to deliver the ball if you want to have a close game today.
Yeah. Kyler Murray, we assume, is going to start. I think he will play after the bye. I don't think this is hearsay. You've got Adam Schefter reporting that. Here's what I will say, though, is you can get productive stretches from Jacoby Brissett. You just, I don't want to see Jacoby Brissett right now for the rest of the season. Give me a rested Kyler Murray, maybe give me a Kyler Murray with a chip on his shoulder after the bye, and give me a Drew Petzing where you're forced to kind of lean into some of his strengths. But as we dive in here to the Bird Game Blitz on a pregame show, can Jacoby Brissett repeat the performance? Can QB2 do it again? I mean, he played well enough last week against Indianapolis to win that game, 27 points, which was a season high for the Cardinals offense alone. And then you think about how that game ended in Indy. Trey McBride essentially tackled in the end zone. Like, if Jacoby Brissett puts up 27 points today, again, I think it's enough for the Cardinals to win this game. I don't expect the Cardinals defense to play as poorly as last week, but I think the biggest thing, Brittan, you look for from Jacoby is exactly what he didn't do last week, minus the interception. Negative plays, turn the ball over, going backwards, right? I feel like, his touch passes from the pocket, his ability to throw the football downfield, and especially, Brittan, as yourself, a former wide receiver in this league, it's like, hey, suddenly Michael Wilson's involved, and Zay Jones and Trey McBride. You get Marv back off a concussion. Like, there should be ample targets for him to navigate a Packers secondary that is a little bit hit or miss this year.
Well, I agree. And like we said earlier, it's going to start with that offensive line, right? You've got to find ways to give Jacoby time. He does not have the escape capability that Kyler has.
No doubt.
Right? So this is a situation where if you're going to try to hold a pocket, you've got to make sure it's clean for at least 3 seconds where he can, get the ball out. But, yes, you're saying you get Marvin back. Michael Wilson, he had a great game last week. It's just one of those things. You got to start getting all these playmakers involved. And sometimes when you have a backup quarterback that doesn't have such a connection with a certain guy, right, you see the ball spread out a little bit more. You don't want to talk about it, but sometimes they see the field a little bit better because they're not necessarily zeroed in on one person. So, just moving the ball downfield, having success, and like you said, no negative plays and no turnovers from Jacoby. I think you have an opportunity, to win the game.
I think Jacoby Brissett, in a unique way, is well designed to come into this environment like last week and stabilize this offense from a vertical passing game standpoint. The Cardinals last week, even when they were down, it never felt like they were out of it because of his ability to garner chunk plays. And for whatever reason, the Petzing, Kyler-led offense right now is very much a pop gun offense. It's 3 to 5 yards in a cloud of dust, right? Whereas Jacoby, he's completing. I think last week we had it sourced, and folks like Teo Mackey reported this after the fact on Twitter. The Cardinals converted their longest third down in the better part of 3 to 5 years last week. Jacoby Brissett, I think it was 3rd and 18, 3rd and 19. Folks in the chat can keep me honest here. That's what this gives you, right? And I know Indianapolis, their secondary was not, Green Bay's by comparison. I think Packers defense as a whole is better. But you're playing at home. You're playing in your building. Give him ample time. It's going to be key with guys like Paris Johnson Jr., how they're able to handle the Micah Parsons of the world, right? Rashawn Gary's been tearing it up. Can Will Hernandez continue to refortify that offensive line? Because when Jacoby was given time last week, even when he wasn't, but when he had a clean pocket, he was one of the more efficient quarterbacks. He threw for the second most yards in the NFL last season. So something to watch. On the flip side, Jordan Love, we're loving the mistakes. Can he make them today? He is not a great road quarterback. Dating back to last year, first of all, the Packers are under 500 this year on the road. They were under 500 last year on the road. You think about this team right now. They are a front runner at home, on the road. As you saw earlier this year, they can lose to Cleveland, right? They tied the Dallas Cowboys. Can the Cardinals make Jordan Love uncomfortable? As Josh Jacobs, yes, he's active, but I don't know if you saw this or not, Brittan, the Packers' flight was delayed to Arizona by 5 hours yesterday. They sat on the tarmac. They had a long day of travel. We see teams like Jacksonville go to London. They basically punt on the game. They're non-competitive, right? Could you get Jordan Love in a situation in which he's just off today? Interceptions, he's very much, I think, very comparable to Daniel Jones in this aspect where he'll go for the big play, but he also is known to turn the football over. How important is it to make sure Jordan Love does not get in a comfort zone against this Cardinal defense?
Well, it's very important. It's going to start with your front seven, right? Pressure, pressure, pressure. To everybody every week, every single quarterback, pressure in the face gets you happy feet, it gets you uncomfortable, it makes you throw balls you normally wouldn't throw. So I think that's the biggest thing. You need your front seven today to just, you really need, Nick Rollis to throw in some blitzes. You just got to find him and try to catch him off guard. I feel like the Cardinals as a whole have been pretty predictable offensively and defensively.
Yeah, no doubt.
Right? So, and Rollis doesn't really blitz a lot. So, you got to do something. Got to get some people, in the backfield, force turnovers, and just force them to throw the ball up and give you an opportunity for a turnover.
I'm with you. I'm disappointed, unfortunately, with what I've seen from Nick Rollis in fourth quarters. The Cardinals, they're better with Josh Sweat and company, but they're not a finished product with their front seven. You don't have Walter Nolan yet today. We're going to talk about Darius Robinson, MHJ here in a second. But I think you do need to send people to Jordan Love. I think it would have behooved them to do the same thing with Daniel Jones last week, and they failed to do that. So fourth quarter, I expect this game to be close. I expect every game, we're entering the fourth quarter, it's a one-possession game. Can you make Jordan Love have that critical turnover or sack or negative play that's really going to combat the game in your favor. We've seen it. We've talked about it every week this year. So the Cardinals in their 4-game losing streak have not made that one critical play, whether it's the Zay Jones drop or, the kickoff against Seattle or a couple weeks ago against Tennessee, the debauchery that went on in the fourth quarter. They haven't been able to put teams away. And I don't think you can sit back with your front four and expect Jordan Love not to pick you apart. So whether it's Budda Baker, whether it's Mack Wilson Sr., Robert Taylor Demerson, send people at him, and I think you're going to have a better chance to win. And speaking of better chances to win today, Cardinals finally playing with a full deck, at least on their defensive front. Darius Robinson set to return after a 2-game absence. Their defense was playing well before D-Rob subsequently went out with a chest pec injury. He is back today. And then also Marvin Harrison Jr. Brittan returns after a concussion, which unfortunately knocked him out. I thought he was on pace for a big game last week against Indy. You figure, let's talk about MHJ specifically. He was playing well. He played well against Tennessee, played well in that second half against the Seattle Seahawks. A little speed bump hiccup last week. You assume Marv's going to get back to doing what he was doing well pre-concussion, especially with Jacoby Brissett at the helm today.
No, I agree. I mean, you started to see it right there at the end, of the Seahawks game, right? He had a really tough first half, and it didn't look good going in the second half, and then he found it. And I think the confidence, started to build from there. And like you said last week, he started off, he had a promising, beginning of that game, and then, the concussion comes through and it kind of knocks him out. But I think he's still, right, that mindset is still there. I think it's just about him getting back out on the field and getting him involved.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Marvin Harrison Jr., his coming out party was going to be last week before the injury. You saw what happened with Zay Jones and Michael Wilson. A lot of those would have been Marv's targets. I think today a Packers secondary that was susceptible to the deep ball against, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens a couple weeks ago with the Dallas Cowboys. I think number 18 has to be involved early and often. I feel like I'm a broken record. I say that every week, but it bears repeating. Challenge the Packers downfield. If you're able to hold up from a pass protection standpoint and you want to offset a little bit of pressure by running the ball, do it. But Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. have to have theirs. You're not beating the Packers without that happening, in my opinion. Just like last week. You weren't beating the Colts last week without ensuring that Trey McBride had hit targets. You have to double down on that this week. If Jacoby Brissett has to throw the ball 40 times to win today and make sure that these players have targets in a critical game against the Packers, so be it. With all due respect, you're not beating the Packers with Bam Knight having 25 carries. So as long as the protection is there, and that's key, even if you have a lead in this game, you got to be able to make sure your playmakers are fed. And then Darius Robinson's not a finished product by any means. He missed time last year, but he was playing better before his injury. He had a sack in the last game that he missed. So, again, I'm of the mindset you need a rotation today. The front seven last year, specifically against Jordan Love, was absolutely atrocious in that game in which the Cardinals got lambasted at Lambeau Field. And, this is a pivotal game as we parlay here to our last topic of discussion on the Bird Game Blitz. Brittan Golden, the bye week looms. Anytime you enter a bye week, it's a chance to assess where you are and specifically where you aren't. Jonathan Gannon's club, if they face down a 2-5 barrel, entering really a 15-day absence because they don't play for 2 weeks beginning on Monday, changes will be made. Could they be made to the coaching staff, to personnel? I mean, you can spin a 3-4 record a lot of different ways. Your mojo's back, whatever, but be tough to spin a 2-5 record for a head coach that right now has a losing record in his third season.
No, I agree. And, all things considered, is on the hot seat right now. Going into a bye week, you would love to have a win. You really need to have a win going into it. Is it going to really affect anything record-wise? No. You're still going to be under 500, but it's just one of those things with momentum. The trouble is, if you do find a way to win this football game today and you go into the bye week, is not coming out flat.
Right.
Coming into week 9 when they would be playing. So it's just going to be one of those things is it a must-win for the Cardinals? Yes. Every game from here on out really is, if you think about it. But, you need to get a win here. You need to go into the bye with a little bit of confidence. I mean, it's going to determine, like you said, that offensive line, giving Jacoby time, allowing him to assess the field and throw the football downfield. So there's a lot of factors that are going to go in for the Cardinals to win this football game today, but this is one that you have to win.
I mean, you can't worry about what the Rams are doing, what the Niners, what the Seahawks are doing. You have to – it's cliche. You have to treat every game, as you mentioned, as a must-win, as a game where you have to come out and have a sense of urgency. And I think the biggest indictment of Jonathan Gannon's team entering this 4-game losing streak, they very much have played not to lose, right? There has not been that sense of urgency with this team to come out, play with their hair on fire, come out and just smack a team around for 4 quarters and have it be an undecided, unquestioned victory. And right now, for the Arizona Cardinals, you need that kind of performance. There's going to be a sea of Packer fans. We've seen them. They're here, chicken and pickle. They're making their way to State Farm Stadium. There's going to be a scene of green and gold headed inside your building. How do you want to combat that, right? How do you want to get fan buy-in back for this season? Because I'm going to tell you right now, if you have a lackluster performance today, people are going to check out. People are going to say, I'm going to check back in January when people are going to be fired. People are going to be on the verge of being traded, right? And listen, I can't combat that. You know, we're going to have draft conversations at that point here in the coming weeks about who the next franchise quarterback of this team is. You have to be able to have a lifeline. And this is the NFL. Like, good teams lose every week. I think the Packers are a good team. I'm not sure they're a great team yet. You can't let them find that identity today. You can't let a connection with Matthew Golden, who hasn't been there all year, suddenly, find the fruits of their labor today. It's like, oh, yeah, it clicked today against the Arizona Cardinals, and Jordan Love had his most efficient game. Like, if that's the case, Brittan, we're going to look at this staff and say, like, you know what, maybe they don't have what it takes to succeed long term.
No, I agree, right? And not only trade, you're going to be talking about trade proposals in the next coming weeks.
Shipping players out.
Yeah, you lose today, you go to 2-5. Now it's just trying to build, right? There's probably not a possibility of you getting anywhere. So now guys start getting traded out for money and picks. So it's just one of those things where today is crucial in so many aspects of finding a way to win this football game.
Yep. It's all hands on deck. It's the kitchen sink, fake punts, whatever you need to do to be able to get this dub. I want to jump into these super chats, but before I do, I want to remind everybody our tailgate threads. They're brought to you by our friends at Rally House. Rally House, just a couple steps from where I'm sitting, the premier location here in Glendale. Again, the place for all your game day needs. Big thanks to our friends at Rally House. Can't wait. We had a pregame on-site hit from Rally House on Friday. A lot of people are saying that was the indicator for our guys ASU being able to get that dub yesterday, knock it off previously unbeaten Texas Tech. So big thanks to our friends at Rally House, and of course, big thanks to our friends at Bet365 as we jump into our pregame picks. And I don't know. I first of all, I love everything that I'm seeing from Bet365. Of course, download the Bet365 app today. Bonus code PHNX365 when you deposit 10, place a $5 bet, you get 300 in bonus bets. But I'm going. It's the Cowardly Lion today. No money line, no over under. I'm just going full force. Jacoby Brissett and Trey McBride. I think Jacoby, you can get plus money on over 220 in passing yards. I think that's a lock in this game. And I also like Jacoby to throw a couple more tutties, one of which to Trey McBride, Brittan, plus 525. What do you think of that line?
I think it's not bad at all. I mean, for the Cardinals to be in position to win a game today, all three of these need to come to fruition. So, I mean, it's a very, very doable parlay.
Yeah. I think
should win you a little bit of money.
I'm trying to be safe. I want to be safe.
How much you put on it?
I would rather not say.
About $5,000?
Nah, well,
Feeling good today?
Maybe $5. $5 right now is going to get you 300 in bonus bets. If your bet wins or loses, they can be used on spreads, totals, prayer props, futures, and more. You got to be 21 years and older. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Text NEXT STEP to 53342 or visit problemgambling.az.gov for more info. Do we know, Noah, has Bo been patted down by stadium officials? Is he being allowed into the building?
Looks like it.
Oh, man, speak of the devil, and he shall appear. Bo Brack from the press box at State Farm Stadium. We got over 340 people watching live. Hit that like button for sweet, innocent newborn baby Bo Brack, clean-shaven and all there in the press box. Bo, Brittan and I talking about the keys of this game right now as Noah Man tries to get you sized up here. First of all, give me a breakdown of the capacity crowd at State Farm Stadium and the ratio between Cards and Packer fans.
Man, that is not a pretty ratio right now. I heard a pretty loud "Go Pack Go" when I entered the stadium.
Oh my God!
It was ugly. It was ugly. I would say it's probably 60-40 in favor of Green Bay and their fraudulent fan base.
That makes me physically ill.
60-40?
Does that surprise you? You think you thought it'd be more?
I thought it'd be about 80-20.
I was at the stadium 4 years ago for 2021 undefeated Cardinals at the time, 7-0 against the Packers, and it was probably 70-30 Card fans in that game. But the Cardinals are very much a 2-4 team right now, and the Packers, even with their 3-1-1 record, like a lot of people feel like they're the class of the NFC. Bo, we're about to jump into our game predictions. But as you could saw, Josh Jacobs was active. Jacoby Brissett set to start for this team. We talked about it ad nauseum this week, but Bo, what are the keys of this game for the Arizona Cardinals somehow snapping this 4-game losing streak?
Yeah, I think those two players in particular are key here. I mean, as far as slowing down Josh Jacobs, trying to take advantage of him, maybe not being 100%, dealing with that calf injury. Can you kind of make them one-dimensional? Because we saw last week with Daniel Jones, he had a good game overall, but once you kind of knew that they were going to get into just full pass mode, that the Cardinals defense could get off the field. But when they have trouble getting to Jonathan Taylor and creating negative plays or stopping him at the line of scrimmage, it created a really tough dynamic for them. And then Jacoby Brissett, can he continue to unlock the downfield passing attack? 7 big play passes last week. Can he have some sort of similar game today? That would be huge for the Cardinals offense to continue to put together performances.
Let's jump into these super chats. Noah, man, cue these up if you would, my guy. Number 1, Evan, 199. This team makes me want to go to the dark side with an Anakin Skywalker emoji. Absolutely love to see it. Like, Bo, let me ask you this, because we were talking about it. Like, what is it going to take outside of just winning for this team to be able to garner the support of this fan base to return? Like, obviously winning matters over everything, but like the optics of like, okay, Marv's back. Can you feed him the ball? Trey McBride, get him involved. Like, obviously no James Conner or Kyler Murray. Is there a recipe for this team to win back this fan base right now?
Just win football games. I got to take a pause here for the anthem, guys.
No problem. Yeah, I mean, I'll echo that comment to you.
It's exactly what he said. Right? You need to win. Right, and it doesn't matter if it's pretty or it's ugly. You just need to come out with a W at the end of the day. And once you start doing that and you can kind of build that winning culture back, then, people will start to buy in. But when you're consistently losing games, when you're throwing away games, you have 20-point leads and you're just letting it go. And just playing conservative and not to win games, it's not football people want to come watch. It's not football that, people are excited about on Sundays. So
yeah, you got to get people in the mindset of, I got to watch Cardinal football because I'm proud of this team, my local team, or wherever you may be consuming Cardinal football. Hit that like button. 350 people watching live. We appreciate everybody here. Dusty Cooks, he's cooking with a $10 super chat. It's a football Sunday. Let's go get it, Redbirds. We're all fighting in this fanboy chat, but we all want the same thing. What's up, BGJV and Bo? Absolutely. Listen. I think, Bo, we can have a mindset of, like, we're critical of this team because it called for it. We're not here to shill. We're not here like some other media markets here locally to just carry the weight. But we're also going to be transparent. Like, okay, like, we want this team to do well, but we we also know that they're in the midst of a month-long losing streak in which, like, none of their games have been pretty this year.
Look, I mean, if there's a traditional 16-game slate, you've lost a quarter of your season. I mean, 4 in a row is nothing to discount. This is a very real issue that they have to stop the bleeding on. 5 straight would be worse. And going into your bye weeks, there's just nothing that you could say, hey, we look at this team and this is going right. So you have to find that. And I don't think anybody, even when you do, if it's in a losing effort, it's not the consolation prize people are looking for. There is no consolation prize. There's no parting gifts. It's either get a win or you don't.
Let's go back. You guys are winning with your super chats. Josh, $2. Who starts for Dallas if JB wins and looks good? I'm of the mindset, like, I think they're going to start Kyler Murray regardless, but I think it's an interesting conversation. I'm ready to have that because it would lead the Cardinals to a dub. They've been very staunchly committed, Brittan, to the mindset that Kyler Murray will play after the bye. Let's say Jacoby Brissett balls out again, even more of a robust stat line. Would there be a temptation to start him on Monday Night Football?
I think a lot of it will come down to how healthy Kyler really is. If he's 100% healthy, he'll probably get the nod strictly because, one, you're paying him $250 million. So, you're not really just going to drop him and put him down. But even if he does start that game, if it comes out and it struggles early, do you make that switch? I don't know. I mean, it's a tough thing to talk about, especially in game, trying to switch quarterbacks, but it's happened plenty of times before. On the flip side, right, if Kyler's not 100%, he can play, but he's 80, 85%. I think you have to stick with Jacoby, depending on how he plays this week. But, if Jacoby Brissett comes out in balls, I think you have to, continue and allow him to keep moving. If he's the one that can push the ball downfield and can force his offense to open up the passing game, then, and if you're winning, that's the big thing.
Right.
W's, trump all.
Bo, you've been pretty steadfast. Kyler Murray's going to play again this year, but would a Jacoby Brissett standout performance change that for you?
Absolutely, but it's a conversation you don't have to have now. It's nothing you have to put out right now that, could kind of maybe divide a locker room and get a, polarize a fan base. It's something that you can wait to hear on. And it's like step one of this is Brissett having another strong performance and really kind of making that case.
David, 199. Let's hope the blitz doesn't expose Jacoby, 100%. Micah Parsons, we haven't talked about him a lot, Brittan. I know he's not blitzing, but he's going to try to win off the edge. Like, how do you fortify the line of scrimmage to stop or slow down the best pass rusher in the NFL?
I mean, we've watched this guy for the past few seasons just dominate football, off the edge. But, it's chipping. You got to throw a running back out there, maybe get a little chip block, keep a tight end every now and then, especially when you're trying to push the ball downfield. If you've got any type of play action where it's going to be a deep drop for that quarterback, you got to find ways to get a chip on Micah Parsons. But it's not just him, because Rashawn Gary's on the other side doing the same thing. They've got a good defensive line. So I think both ways, you're going to have to find ways to – you can't keep Trey McBride in. But at the same time, you need him in the field passing. But you got to use running backs and tight ends and other ways to just try to slow down the pass rush.
Let's hammer through these last couple. Mo, AZ Cards fan, 199 of support, and then coming back and saying D-Rob may have been missing factor the last two games. I think he has been. I think even because his stat line hasn't been robust, they need him. He's a good player for them. I know he hasn't lived up to that first-round billing yet, but give him time. Let him expand his role, and God forbid we let him go through a full season before we put a label on him one way or the other. Appreciate that. Louis, P7, 199. Let's go, boys. Rise up, Red Sea, from Lewis and Viv. Thank you so much, Lewis and Viv. Appreciate the support on the show. Appreciate everybody watching. Hit that like button. Subscribe to PHNX Sports here on YouTube. We are barreling our way. We're just a smidge away from 46,000 subscribers, en route to 50K. Help us get there. Hammer that like button. And, of course, click that join button to become a part of our supporters club. Here's the good news for you. You can support us here on a halftime and post-game PHNX Cardinals breakdown here on game day as we watch the Arizona Cardinals attempt to save their season for Bo Brittan, Noah Lee. I'm Johnny Venerable. We'll see you at halftime.
We all silly like the mayor.